I figured it's time for a Amorphophallus update on what's been going on. Pretty much most of my plants are going into dormancy, except for my titans. And these are most of the titans that I have. As you can see, there's one here that's the youngest one. It hasn't fully sprouted yet, but the rest are doing well. And then here on the table, we've got my oldest one, and it's growing a second spike, as you can see there. And it's pretty cool because it looks like it's going to be thicker than the original one. Now, I haven't read this anywhere, and I pretty much find these things out on my own because I'm self-taught growing these. But I suspect that Titan arums must be closely related to Amorphophallus peonifolius, which is the elephant foot yam, because they grow a second spike like this. And if you've ever seen pictures of the flower of peonifolius, it looks like a miniature titan. I've even seen some unscrupulous people on eBay trying to sell elephant yam, saying it's a miniature titan. It's very rare. No, it's not. There are a lot of Amorphophallus scammers out there, so be careful if you go on eBay. But I am also growing these, which I did get on eBay. They're called Amorphophallus oncopulus. And my pencils have faded away. And this plant did very well for me growing on the patio, but now it's time for them to go dormant. And as you see, some of them are dying back and going dormant, while some of them are still going strong. And they were little seeds when I got them. I sprouted these in my incubator method, as I call it. I'll put a link to that if you want to see how I got them to sprout, along with the Titan arums. They were way harder than the Titan arums. They just did not want to sprout. They took almost a month to come up. So that's what I want to talk about: dormancy and how to store your corms and put them away. So here I've got several of the corms and bulbs already put away. Bulbifer this year made a few of those little, they make like these little warty growths on the actual leaf itself. So I harvested those, and there. And I've got, this is the neat colored morph that you saw in the previous videos that was lighter color than a regular peonifolius. This one I got in a trade this year. And most of these I just put it in, like I'll show you with this one. It's just in a brown paper bag. The reason is that you want to keep these dry over the winter. You don't want them getting moist and then rotting out while you have them stored. So there's the corm washed out. This made like a 5-foot plant, if you remember from the last video that I posted. But when they're really teeny tiny babies, like newly sprouted or new offshoots, like this tiny guy here, this is an A. malariae. This is so small. And I was told this has gone dormant already, but it's got a little spike right there, and it looks like it could come up. So with these guys, I've read that what you do is you don't just bag them because they will dry out. They actually do expel water while they're dormant, which is why you don't want to put these in a plastic bag, because they'll expel their own water and rot themselves out. But I've got pine shavings, like the kind you buy for hamsters and small pets. You can get that at the pet store, and I just put it in there, and that should keep him from getting overly moist. And then I just store them in this plastic bin, and I put them in a cool, dry shelf. You can store them in the garage. And most of these species are safe to leave them in there. But for the tropical species, like the Titan arums, and I'm not sure about this one, the Onicopulus, if it's a true tropical, these guys could break dormancy during winter. So you have to keep checking them like every few days or every few weeks to make sure they're not sprouting inside the bags, because then they'll have to be planted. And they grow just fine indoors as houseplants. I've got these guys under grow lights, but I mean, they can grow fine in a well-lit room or a window that gives them good sunlight. So that's how I store my corms for the winter, and anxiously wait the spring and hope they all start over again. And maybe next year I'll finally get that flower. I know I say that every year, but here's hoping.